Like it's
27.
not, yeah, into Deuteronomy 28, where it talks about the blessings and the curses. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're on Mount Nebo and you're expecting the blessings, you're not going to receive them. If you look and you see as he describes what the curses are, and you see that's where you're dwelling at, then guess what mountain you're on? You're on Mount Nebo. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want the blessings, you need to go to the other mountain, Mount Gerizim. And so and that's what it explains to us here in Deuteronomy chapter 11 verses starting at verse 26, that if that's what you're looking for, that's where you got to be. You don't get no blessings by being middle of the road. The blessings are on the mountain, so you got to be on this side. You can't straddle the fence, so to speak. So I think that was an idiom for the people to also be able to visualize what Yah is saying, that you can't be on both mountains. You can't have one foot over here and one foot over there, because depending on what mountain you're on is what you get. And being middle of the road is not putting you on either mountain either, so you don't get the blessings nor the curses. So you can't expect anything being middle of the road. You have to decide which mountain you're going to be on, so to speak, what you're going to do. You can't be, when it comes to his commands, you can't say, well, I'm just going to just walk and however I feel that day. And, if I happen to stumble and fall on this mountain, then so be it. But I'm looking for the blessings. You have to be, in a sense, determined and walk in a manner to be able to receive what it is that you're looking for. Shabbat Shalom, Ronette.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So we just read a few verses in Deuteronomy 11, verses 26 through 32, where he was saying that he puts before him the blessings and the curse, and to put the curse on Mount Nebo and the blessings on Mount Gerizim. So, and they were saying that, they needed to go into the land and possess it, and to guard all the laws and right rulings that he's putting on them. So he's saying he's done his part. So now it's time for them to do their part. Anybody got any questions? Any more comments? All right, I'll go ahead and jump in and read chapter 12, and then we'll pass it on from there. I think 12 is probably one of the longest ones we got yet. All right. It says, these are the laws and right rulings which you are to guard to do in the land which Yah your Elohim, which Yah Elohim of your fathers is giving you to possess all the days that you live on the soil. Completely destroy all places where nations which you are disposing serve their mighty ones, in the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. And you shall break down their altars and smash their pillars and burn their ashram with fire. And you shall cut down the carved images of the mighty ones and shall destroy their names out of that place. Do not do so to Yahweh your Elohim, but seek the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses out of all your tribes to put his name there for his dwelling place, and there you shall enter, and there you shall take your burnt offerings and your offerings and your tithes and contributions of your hand, and your vowed offerings, and your voluntary offerings, and the firstlings of your herd and of your flock. And there you shall eat before Yahweh your Elohim, and shall rejoice in all that you put your hand to, you and your household, in which Yahweh your Elohim has blessed you. Do not do as we are doing here today, each one doing whatever is right in his own mind, because you have not yet entered into the rest, into the inheritance which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. But you shall pass over the Jordan, and shall dwell in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to inherit. And he shall give you rest from all your enemies round about, and you shall dwell in safety. And it shall be that unto the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there, there you are to bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your tithes, your contributions of your hand, and all your choice offerings which you vow to Yahweh. And you shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim, you and your sons and your daughters and your male servants and your female servants and the Levites who are within your gates, since he has no portion nor inheritance with you. Guard yourself that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see, except in the place which Yahweh chooses, in one of your tribes. There you are to offer your burnt offerings, and there you are to do all that I command you. Only whatever your being desires, you shall slaughter and eat according to the blessings of Yahweh your Elohim, which he's given you within all your gates. The unclean and the clean do eat it, the gazelle and the deer alike. Only the blood you do not eat. Pour it on the earth like water. You are not allowed to eat within your gates the tithe of your grain, nor of your new wine, or of your oil, or of the firstlings of your herd, or of any of your offerings which you vow, or of your voluntary offerings, or of the contribution of your hand. But eat them before Yahweh your Elohim in the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses. You and your son, and your daughter, and your male servant, and your female servant, and the Levite who is within your gates. And you shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim in all that you put your hand to. Guard yourself that you do not forsake the Levite for as long as you live in your land. When Yahweh your Elohim enlarges your border as he has promised you, and you say, let me eat meat, because you long to eat meat, you eat as much meat as your being desires. When the place where Yahweh your Elohim chooses to put his name is too far from you, then you shall slaughter from your herd and from your flock which Yahweh has given you, as I commanded you. And you shall eat within your gates as much as your being desires. Only as the gazelle and the deer are eating, so you are to eat of it. The unclean and the clean eat alike of it. Only be firm not to eat the blood, for the blood is the life. Do not eat the life with the meat. Do not eat it. You pour it on the earth like water. Do not eat it, that it may be well with you and your children after you, when you do what is right in the eyes of Yahweh. Only the set apart gifts which you have in your vow offerings, you are to take up and go to the place which Yahweh chooses. You shall make your burnt offering, the meat and the blood of the altar of Yahweh your Elohim, and the blood of your offerings is poured out of the altar of Yahweh your Elohim, and you eat the meat. Guard and obey all the words which I command you, that it might be well with you and your children after you forever, when you do what is good and right in the eyes of Yahweh your Elohim. When Yahweh your Elohim does cut off from before you the nations which you go to dispose, and you dispose them and dwell in their land. Guard yourself that you are not ensnared to follow them after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire about their mighty ones, saying, how did these nations serve their mighty ones? Let me do so too. Do not do so to Yahweh your Elohim, for every abomination which I hate, which Yahweh hates, they have done to their mighty ones. For they even burn their sons and daughters in the fire of their mighty ones. All the words I am commanding you, guard to do it. Do not add to it, nor take away from it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Hallelujah.
So this one here had quite a few gems and nuggets in it.
Mm-hmm.
Any stand out to any of you guys?
Mm.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
He told them to, when they got there, to completely destroy all the places where the nations are depossessing, that he's giving to them.
Mm-hmm.
And do not serve their gods or inquire about how they serve them.
Why do you think that's important? One, to tear them down, and then two, not to inquire about them.
Well, I think if you don't know, if things don't go the way you think they should have gone, you won't in the back of your mind be saying, oh, well, if we'd done it like they said they did it, maybe we'd be all right. Maybe I need to go over here and, mix a little whatever in the soup. Or,
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else?
No.
Miss Rounette, why do you think it's important that Yah said to tear their stuff down and not to inquire?
Well, not to inquire about it.
Yeah.
Oh, mainly because we do get curious as to what other people have. That's just like human nature. And so if we pull it down and don't ask questions, then we won't be drawn to follow inquire, and then more inquiring minds want to know, and then you're trying to get into it.
Right.
So it's probably some crap they were into, voodoo and not that nonsense. One of those type of things, serving other gods.
Yeah. What about you, Sandra K?
I say if you hear he's saying again, he's telling you what to do and what not to do. So you got to show.
Yeah. Yeah, he's telling them what to do and what not to do. It's also important because, sometimes we might know that, we're not supposed to worship, this little bottle of lotion. Don't worship this. But I like the way it looks, and it was, very pretty and stuff. So, I'm just going to keep it back for a keepsake. And then as time goes by and I pass away, my grandchildren come
Mm-hmm.
and they find this little bottle and they're like, I wonder what this was for. This looks like, I don't know what it is. Let's go and inquire. Let's go and ask people what was this for? That was something that they used to for good luck, or to something that they used to get married or to have a blessing or whatever else. Oh, for real? Wow. Wonder how they did that. And so then your grandchildren are walking around, and not that they know what to do, but then as we go through life, we understand that there comes a time that we might be looking to get married, or we might be looking for a blessing. And you're like, you know what? Grandma, grandpa had one of these little bottles that they kept. Then they were always blessed. So that might have been what they had that for, so that they can go and get blessed. And so let me go up there and start doing this little stuff so that I can get blessed and have the blessings that they had. They don't realize that Scripture said don't do anything with it, to destroy it, not to keep it, and not to inquire. And so that's how throughout the generations, when we don't do these things, we might be able to get past it ourselves because we know what not to do. But then our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, when they run across it because we felt that it was valuable enough to keep, they're going to try to look for the value in it. And then they'll begin to inquire about these things. And that's how I believe that when we do such things, it can come to the detriment, not of us personally at that point in time, but to our children and our children's children, to where they begin to do things and fall into the area of the curses, as they put it. So another thing that really stood out to me on this one is in verse 8, and I think that really implies to where we're at today, as he says, do not do as we are doing here today. Each one doing whatever is right in his own eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It says, because you have not yet entered into the rest and the inheritance which Yah, your Elohim, is giving you. And so, because we have yet to enter in, because we have yet to be taken back to the inheritance, we have to be mindful that we can't do what we're doing here in America and think that we can go into the land, into the kingdom of Yah, and continue to do these things. And so let me ask, why do you think that is? Why do you think that he made that statement in verse 8? Do not do what we're doing here today. And why do you think it's important that he made the reference, because you have not yet entered into the rest and the inheritance?
Well, I think it's like those people who say they don't have to follow the rules because they're under grace.
Right.
And if we didn't have, if we're not supposed to follow the rules, then what's the point in him telling us all of these things?
Right. If there's an exception to the rule, then there isn't a rule. Yeah. So yeah, I believe that's it in a nutshell. And I think you put it in the proper perspective, because there is a grace period, and that's what Moshe was letting them know. You guys are in that grace period now, but understand that when it comes time to enter into the land, that grace period is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he's saying. Don't do like you're doing right now. You in a grace period right now. When that period is over, when it comes time to enter into the land, you're no longer under grace. And so I often liken it to sports, playing basketball. When you in first and second grade and you're playing basketball, you'll have a ref who, while the kids are trying to dribble the ball, they might dribble and pick it up and run 2 or 3 steps and dribble and pick it up and run a couple steps and then pass it and take off running before they dribble and stuff. And a lot of times they'll let that pass in those younger ages, because that is a grace period. You're trying to develop them so that they can get to the point. As the time goes on, they'll start calling it a little bit more. Hey, You need to dribble more. I'm gonna start making calls on travel and carrying the ball and stuff. And so, it's going to be a turnover. So right now, I'm trying to show you the right way. And that's what we need to understand. That's the purpose for the grace period, is that Yah is trying to show us the right way. But when we ultimately say, I ain't got to do what you say, then we're saying that we're going to be on what mountain?
Ebo.
Mount Nebo, where the curses are. We just going to go over here and dwell on this mountain over here and hope and pray for some blessings to roll off of that mountain and roll up this mountain to us. So, and that's what he's what I believe that he's letting them know. You have a grace period, and that is now. When it comes time to enter in, you won't have that grace period. That grace period will be over. It's like when you go to a place and it says no smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Your grace period of smoking is outside. But once you get ready to enter into that building, you better put that cigarette out. But they ain't gonna have it in there. And the same thing with Yah. He's giving us a grace period on doing, as he said, whatever is right in our own eyes. He's giving us that grace period now, but when we enter into his house, as he's put it here, do what is right in the eyes of your Elohim. Not what is right in your own eyes. But we need to do what Yah deems is right. And so and that's the mindset that we need to have with that. Then he begins to talk about the blessings. Anybody else have anything to say about that part?
No.
Okay. Then he begins to talk about the blessings and of being with Yah. Where did he say to put Yah's holy place? He said tear down their shrines and stuff, but where did he say to put the place where you come to worship him?
He would choose a place, and the place he chose was Jerusalem.
Okay, it is. And in choosing, how did he say that? What did he say you were supposed to do when it came time to give praise and worship and to bring your tithes and stuff? He said you can do that anywhere you want to, right?
No, he said, there you shall bring all that I am commanding you. Your burnt offerings, your sacrifice, your tithes, and the heave offering of your hand, and all of your free will offerings, which you vow to Yahweh.
So when you got to go in there and bring all that stuff to Yah, how you think people feel? If we go by how people view things today, Yah said, you need to bring some a goat, and a lamb, and
Over and done with.
everything else. I need some purple thread, and I need some of this. I need some grain and stuff like that. How do you think people is going to go in there with their stuff?
Oh, they're going to go in there. If we're basing it on today, they're going to go in there. Hey, they want to be laid. Dapper Dan. Yeah. Showing off their $1,000 sneakers and their Armani suits and all of that type thing.
But is that how Yah wants them to?
Oh no. Oh, no. And if they go in there with those big crosses around their neck, oh Lord. Yeah, well, They won't be going in, I don't think.
No, well, that's what he's saying. You can't do like you're doing today, where you think that's acceptable, and he done already told you to tear all that stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he also says that you shall rejoice before Yah. So, in what you're saying, when they go in with their Dapper Dan suits on and their all the juries and
Mm-hmm.
rings and gold and bling bling, who are they going before with all that? Who are they going to glorify, I should say?
Well, with today's standards, whoever their pastor is, and they live, that's who they are worshiping, or the one that they call Jesus.
Yeah, maybe. But if they go in there and they're the one that's all dressed up and it's all about their bling,
Yeah.
and it's more about a show for them.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And I believe that, and it's more of a show for the people. And I don't believe that Yah wants us coming in to strut and do everything in front of the people. You know, because to tell the truth, Yah's not impressed with that.
Mm-mm.
You know, so he says, come and rejoice before me. Have your focus on Yah, not focused on the pastor, not focused on the other people, not focused on Mr. Seti over here, who's got on a blue suit, but I got on a turquoise purple suit that can show up his little blue suit. It's not supposed to be about us or anything else. It's supposed to be about us going before Yah. And so when you go before Yah, you should be humble. You shouldn't be trying to promote yourself. He says that, you know, you need to go in with who? Just by yourself?
No, your sons, your daughters, your male servants, your female servants, if you have them,
Mm-hmm.
and the Levite, the priest, who's within your gate.
Yeah. And you're supposed to bring your portion, because that's what your portion is for.
Right.
You know, we've been places where, you know, everybody's supposed to bring their portion to the celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, certain tribes all want to fall under Father Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how big their tribe is. Father Abraham, he brought that one box of KFC chicken. And that, although there's 250 of us, that's our portion that we brought here. And, you know, but we can cut it up. But, it looked like y'all brought plenty. And that's 5 of y'all, and y'all brought 10 boxes. Oh, yeah, we got plenty to serve. And I think that's part of what Yah is pointing out here, as I always try to share, that one, supposed to come in rejoicing. And that's to rejoice the blessings that Yah has given, not just you, but to your family, to your community, to your tribe, to all of Israel, to understand what all you represent, and that you should come with enough to cover everybody, you know. And it's one thing when you have more than enough to cover everybody, but and for those who don't have, but then it's another thing when you have more than enough and you don't bring any additional. You don't bring enough just to cover you. You should bring more. That's why he says, hey, you know, on these, you shouldn't just have the offerings of and the tithes and stuff, but there should be some extra that you bring. Like I said, I still liken this to a family reunion where, you know, you might bring your favorite dish that everybody likes, and you bring enough so that everybody can have a sample. But, you know, you might also bring some plates or some cups or some ice or something else to help to contribute to those who may not have enough to you know, they might have had a bad year, but you want them to be able to sit down and eat and be merry, and that there's enough for everybody, and folks ain't fighting and going off on each other. So that's why I think that God's saying, one, come in and rejoice, and two, bring in what you got, bring in whatever it is that you got.
Extra.
Yeah, extras and stuff. Not that it's a requirement. Not that it don't say nothing in here where the pastor is supposed to pass the plate and then look back at the plate and say, you know, I think we need to pass this around again. I've seen that happen. And so it wasn't about that. It's more about bringing in what Yah has called you. And he said, for those who want to be stingy, there are certain things that you can eat in your own dwelling place if the place that Yah has called for you to go to is too far. However, said only the set apart gifts which you have and you vowed, and your vowed offerings you are to take up to go to the place which Yah chooses. And so, and that's what he's letting them know. You know, there's going to be a time that you might be too far away, and you can just say, well, you know, okay, that's too far for me to carry all this stuff there. But he says the set apart gifts, the stuff that he told you need to bring, the gifts of your vows, and so, and that's like, you know, those vow gifts. We talked about those offerings when you make a vow that, you know, Yah, I'm gonna do this, and if you will bless me, I will to be able to do that, I will bring this. This is the cost of that vow, to bring in a dove or some extra chicken or whatever. So he's saying that extra stuff that you made those extra vows and stuff for, those promises and the offerings of remembrance of the things that Yah has done for you. Bring those when you come before everybody else. Don't say, I promise I was gonna make get me a blackberry cobbler if Yah did something nice for me. But you want to know what? That's too good for me to take before the family reunion. I'm just going to sit there and eat that here at the house. He said, no, those are the things that you got to bring to his set apart place. All right. Everybody good?
Yep.
All
Good.
right. All right. Who wants to read 13?
Where are we actually?
All right.
Where are we?
Deuteronomy chapter 13.
All right. I got it. Ready?
Yep.
If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spoke unto you, saying, let us go after other Elohim, which you have not known, and let us serve them. You shall not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dream of dreams. For Yahuwah Elohim proves you to know whether you love Yahuwah Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk with Yahuwah Elohim and fear him and guard his commands and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dream of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahuwah Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust you out of the way which Yahuwah Elohim commanded you to walk in. So shall you put the evil away from the midst of you. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the woman of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, entice you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other Elohim, which you have not known, nor your fathers, namely of the Elohim of the people which are around you, nigh unto you, or far from you, from the one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. You shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him, but you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first upon him to be put to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And you shall stone him with stones, that he die, because he has sought to thrust you away from Yahuwah Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage. And all Yezreel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you. If you shall hear say in one of your cities which Yahuwah Elohim has given you to dwell there, saying, certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other Elohim, which ye have not known. Then shall you inquire and make search, and ask diligently, and behold, if it be true, and the truth being certain, that such abomination is wrought among you, you shall surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof with the edge of the sword. And you shall gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof, and shall burn with fire the city and all the spoil thereof, every bit, that for Yahuwah Elohim, and it shall be a heap forever. It shall not be built again. And there shall cleave naught of the cursed thing to your hand, that Yahuwah may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show you mercy, and have compassion upon you, and multiply you as he has sworn unto your fathers. When you shall hearken to the voice of Yahuwah Elohim, to guard all his commandments, which I command you to this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of Yahuwah Elohim.
So what do you guys think when you hear this?
Wow. He said, we got to kill those people that are trying to lead us away from him and the truth. So, I mean, my goodness, when you think about it, nobody really followed, not too many anyway, follow him. They follow God and the Lord and Jesus.
So
Is that because they're innocent? You know, like they're kind of innocent. I don't know. They refuse to want to find out the truth.
well, see, the thing is, you're looking at the results.
Right.
These are individuals who have firsthand encounter with Yah.
Okay.
These are ones who had firsthand experience with going through the Red Sea, seeing what he did to the children of Egypt, seeing how the manna fell, seeing how the water sprung up, seeing how he's wiped out enemies and everything else, how the earth has opened up and swallowed up people who'd acted a fool, and all these other things. These are the ones who had witness to all this. And what they're saying is to them, if somebody comes in and tells you, look, we need to go follow somebody else because they're going to do better for you than what Yah has done. You're going to get a better blessing. You're going to get this or that or the other. He said, you need to kill them.
Right, right.
Because the results are when you allow somebody to come in and entice you like that, when you allow someone to come in and say some wicked stuff like they're saying, then you're allowing people to come in that now changes his name from Yah to God, from
Yep.
Elohim to Lord, from
Yep.
Yeshua to Jesus, because they're coming in bringing in other things. They're bringing in the Easter Bunny. They're bringing in Santa Claus. They're bringing in all this other crazy stuff, as he said, that you didn't know nothing about. And it tells you that even if he says it in secret, you're supposed to go and tell everybody about it. And if they deem him to be wrong, who's the first one that's supposed to strike him?
You.
That's right. So he says you shouldn't pardon him, and you shouldn't have pity on him. You need to be the first one to put your hands on him when the time comes. So my thing is, even out there in the streets today, and I don't care where you at, you can go to Chicago right now. If they came with this no nonsense approach to dealing with folks in their community who wants to lead you to believing in other gods such as crack cocaine, the money god, white Jesus, or the white man god, or anything else, and you dealt with them in that manner that Yah is saying, that it will wipe out a lot of that stuff. It'll wipe out you got to kill somebody so that you can get that money. You got to kill somebody because they're telling you to, they're going to tell on you for doing evil and wrong. If the whole community rose up, it didn't say go to white Jesus, which is the white man, and tell them to take care of it. He said, you guys are responsible for it. It's the whole community's responsibility for it. And so we got to get back to that point of being a community and being responsible for the actions and stuff that's going on in our community, and that it's up to us to take care of it and to make it right. Anybody else got anything that they would like to share on this chapter? Questions or concerns?
No. That summed it up. Sort of, yeah.
No. All right. Who wants to read chapter 14? We got to come off of mute.
I know.
All right.
Coming up. You are sons of Yahweh, your Elohim. You shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For you are a holy people to Yahweh, your Elohim, and Yahweh has chosen you to be a people to him, a special treasure out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth. You shall not eat any abominable thing. These are the animals which you shall eat: the ox, the flocked sheep, and the flocked goat, the hart, the gazelle, the roe deer, the wild goat, the antelope, the ox, and the muffalon. And you may eat every animal that divides the hoof and divides two hoofs wholly, and chews the cud among the animals. But you shall not eat of those that only chew the cud, or those only dividing the cloven hoof, the camel, and the hare, and the rock badger, for they chew the cud, but do not divide the hoof. They shall be unclean to you. And the swine, because it divides the hoof, but does not chew the cud. It is unclean to you. You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead body. These you shall eat of all in the waters, and you shall eat all that have fins and scales. And whatever does not have fins and scales, you shall not eat. It shall be unclean to you. You shall eat of all clean birds, but you shall not eat these: the eagle, the black vulture, and the bearded vulture, the hawk and falcons, and the kite by its kinds, and all the ravens by their kinds, and the ostrich, and the great owl, and the seagull, and the small hawks by their kinds, the little owl, and the eared owl, and the barn owl, and the pelican, and the owl, and the cormorant, and the stork, and the heron after its kind, and the hoopoe, and the bat. And every teeming thing that flies shall be unclean to you. They shall not be eaten. You may eat of all clean birds. You shall not eat of anything that died of itself. You may give it to the alien who is within your gates, that he may eat it, or you may sell it to a foreigner. For you are a holy people to Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall not boil the kid in its mother's milk. Tithing, you shall tithe all the increase of your seed, that the field yields year by year. You shall eat before Yahweh your Elohim in the place which he shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. The tithe of your grain, of your wine, of your oil, and the firstlings of your herd and your flock, and you may learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim all your days. And if the way is too long for you, so that you cannot carry it, because the place is too far from you, which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose, set his name there, when Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you. Then you shall give it for silver, and bind up the silver in your hand, and you shall go to the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose. And you shall pay the silver for whatever your soul rightly desires, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for fermented drink, or for whatever your soul desires. And you shall eat there before Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. And you shall not forsake the Levite who is within your gates, for he has no portion nor inheritance with you. And at the end of 3 years, even the same year, you shall bring forth all the tithe of your increase, and shall lay it up within your gates. And the Levite, because he has no portion nor inheritance with you, and the alien and the fatherless, and the widow who are within your gates shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, so that Yahweh your Elohim may bless you in all the work of your hand, which you do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So tell me what that means.
Well, there's a lot in there, but I'm at the very end on 28. At the end of 3 years, even the same year, you shall bring forth all the tithe of your increase. You shall lay them up within your gates, and the Levite, because he has no portion, and the fatherless, and the widow who are within your gates shall come and shall eat.
So let's break that down.
Yeah.
How often are you supposed to do this? Every paycheck, right?
Well, that's what they've taught us.
And you're supposed to give it off the gross,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well, no, you stay here. It says give it off the increase. And you're only supposed to do it at the end of the year.
At the end of 3 years, and you're only supposed to do it for that 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying that for 3 years, you know, we count 2018, 2019, and this is 2020. So we just say that 2020 is our year that we're supposed to bring this tithe in. Then it says that tithe of that year, as mine says, at the end of every 3rd year, you bring out all the tithe of your increase of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Not of all 3 years, but of that year.
Okay.
And then it says, as we've been taught, give it all to the pastor.
Yeah.
That's not what it says.
Mm. So he gets to eat with you
Yeah,
because he's having it.
yeah. Said, no, this is for the preacher, and it's also for the sojourner. It's also for the fatherless, and it's also for the widows. So a lot of this stuff that the pastors and stuff is taking, they don't realize that Yah says when you do that, you are, and you are taking it all for yourself, you taking away from the strangers, from the fatherless, from the widows, you know. And so for me, when I look at that and I see that people are crying about getting so many millions of dollars to have a Lear jet and everything else, it's like, hold on. What you're missing is that according to this, 75% of that should be going to the widows. And we ain't even going to say 75%, but we're just saying that if it was just portioned off into the 4 different sections, I still think it should be proportionalized by the individual. It should include the pastors or the preachers, but not that they just due to title get an equal share of all the other titles. So if you got 100 orphans and 100 widows and 100 strangers there, that you should put as much on their plate and take a quarter of all they got and put it on the pastor's plate. He don't need that much. He just need to be included. So I don't think it's due to the title that he should get, that the pastor should get a quarter of the stuff that's there, but they should get enough for their individual need. Just as we are to provide for these other individuals' needs. And I think it should be for the individuals that fall within those groups, and not so much proportionalized due to that there's only 4 different groups being mentioned. So, did anybody have any issues about the meat that are the food that we're supposed to eat?
I didn't recognize some of them. They have a whole lot in there.
Yeah. A lot of them you should be able to understand due to their characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the different birds, the ones that that he said that we shouldn't eat. Did you notice that they mostly had a familiar characteristic?
Mm-hmm.
What would that characteristic be?
Well, they'd eat anything.
Right. Right. When we look at stuff, mostly the things that he asks us to eat are things that eat food from grass and things of that nature. The deer, the sheep, the goat. And so with these other things, they eat other creatures. Now, I know that the camel doesn't fall under that, but he doesn't mean, he gives special provisions. Says the camel and the rabbit choose to cut, but
They don't have split hooves.
That's right. So that's what he's trying to distinguish between what is good to eat and what shouldn't be eaten. And the same thing with the birds. Your hawks, your ravens, your vultures, your falcon. Those things will eat anything. Whereas, your chickens and quail and stuff like that eat insects and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, because you have to understand that he was pointing out before about when you ate something, you had to pour the blood out because the blood was the life.
Mm-hmm.
And so these animals that he's saying are unclean, most of them are something that will eat something and eat the life, the blood that's in it. So he's saying that's what, in a sense, makes those things, some of them, unclean. Whereas with the others, they have different qualities, and I'm sure he has different reasons why he has made them unclean. But these are some of the things we can point out. So, is it wrong to eat a cheeseburger?
I hope not. I like them.
Um,
Well,
No.
look in verse 21.
Is it? Oh no. That's beef.
Look in verse 21.
What does it say?
You shall not eat of anything that died of itself.
Mm-hmm.
You may give it to the alien who is within your gates, that it, or you may sell it to the foreigner. For you are a holy people to Yahweh your Elohim. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk.
But that's saying if the cow died on his own.
Yeah, well, I'm focused more on serving the milk with the kid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cheese comes from milk.
Right. Oh, right. Oh, that part, yeah. I could leave the cheese off.
Well, there are times when we can go back and look in scripture in the book of Genesis when Abraham was first being visited by Yeah, and y'all was talking to Abraham and Sarah. That Abraham made a dish that was made with goat and goat's milk. He made a dish that had milk in it.
Okay. So
So,
we're in court then. The
well,
Jamaican, that you might have
they're
that still.
they're just making he's making a distinction here.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Do not boil a kid in what?"
In its mother's milk.
Okay. Does that mean that you can't boil a kid in milk? He just said, "Don't use its mother's milk to do it."
Yeah.
So and I'm pointing this out because you'll run into those who practice Judaism,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll say, "Oh, you're supposed to be somebody of the faith and of the belief, but yet and still you're eating a cheeseburger." You know, you ain't supposed to boil a kid in its mother's milk. The thing is that your beef cattle and your dairy cattle are different cattle. So the likelihood that beef is being boiled in its mother's milk on a cheeseburger is slim to none. So he's not saying don't combine the two. He's just saying if you know that this calf here belongs to that mother, don't use her milk to make the cheese or to mix with it, because that is kind of like incest, is what he's saying. Not that there's a problem with breeding cows together, but you shouldn't breed the mother cow with this offspring. Same way you shouldn't use the mother's milk to cook the offspring.
I see.
Mm. Okay, yeah.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Well,
Right.
I mean, yeah, I hear it quite often, and I'm like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
When it talks about when things are too far away to bring your sheep and your stuff, and that you're not able to bring that type of tithe in, what did he say that? How did he say you were supposed to be able to account for it when you got there?
You buy it there, you have silver in your hand so
Mm-hmm.
that you can buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And you go buy it and then bring it to the place that he has chosen
Mm-hmm.
and give your offering then. But you don't try to carry, if you're too far away, you don't try to carry all that stuff over there. Or at least that's the way I understood it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing is that you, it's like, in a sense, going to, if you guys were coming here and you said, hey, I'm bringing my tithe to be able to feed the family. And I've been growing this red heifer over here that has no spot or blemish on it. And I want to bring it up there to cook for the barbecue. But you hundreds of miles away. It's going to be kind of hard to walk that cow. It's going to be kind of hard to and costly to put it on a truck and haul it up here. Even more costly to put it on an airplane and fly it over here. So y'all saying, let's be sensible on some things. Take you some coins. When you get there, then you go buy whatever it is that you were looking at providing. don't get to tripping off of me having to try to cart something a long distance just for this occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So when you begin to look at these things in sometimes a sensible viewpoint, as I say, Yah covers just about every aspect that you can possibly imagine. You know what your issue is. Oh, we can't do this because we ain't in the land. Okay, but it's saying that you should go to the land for these feast days, and I can't be growing a cow and a goat and whatever else I'm supposed to bring and try to fly that all the way to Israel. Well, Yah says, okay, well, take you some silver. When you get to the land, buy whatever it is that you need.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Anybody got any other questions?
Nope.
All right. This should be a very interesting chapter coming up next, chapter 15 of Deuteronomy. And it says, at the end of every 7 years, you are to make a release of debts.
Ooh-wee.
Now, I'm going to stop there for a second. This is only to release some debts, right?
All of them.
Okay, we're going to see. So this is the word of the release. Every creditor is to release what he has loaned to his neighbor. He does not require it from his neighbor or his brothers, because it is called the release of Yahuwah. Of a foreigner, you could require it, but your hand is to release whatever is owed by your brother. Only there should be no poor among you. For Yahuwah does greatly bless you in the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance. Only if you diligently obey the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim to do all these commands which I'm commanding you today. For Yahuwah your Elohim shall bless you as he promised you, and you shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. You shall rule over many nations, but you do not rule over, but they do not rule over you. When there is a poor man with you, and one of your brothers within your gates in your land, which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, you do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from your poor brother. For you shall certainly open your hand to him, and certainly lend him enough for his need, whatever he needs. Be on guard lest there be a thought, Bilial in your heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is near, and your eye is evil against your poor brother, and you give him not. And he shall cry out to Yahuwah against you, and and it shall be a sin in you. And you shall certainly give to him, and your heart shall not be grieved when you give to him, because for this reason, Yahuwah your Elohim does bless you in all the work, in all your works, and in all which you put your hand, because the poor does not cease from the land. Therefore, I am commanding you, saying, you shall certainly open your hand to your brother, to your poor, to your needy one in your land. When your brother is sold to you, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, and shall serve you 6 years, then let him go free from you in the 7th year. When you send him away free, when you send him away free from you, let him not go away empty-handed. You shall certainly Supply him from your flock and from your threshing floor and from your winepress with that which Yahweh has blessed you with, to give to him. You shall remember that when you were a slave in the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahweh your Elohim redeemed you. Therefore I'm commanding you this word today. And it shall be when he says to you, I do not go away from you, because he loves you and your house, because it is good for him with you. Then you shall take an awl and thrust it through his ear to the door, and he shall be your servant forever. Do the same to your female servant. Let it not be hard in your eyes when you send him away free from you, for he has been worth a double hired servant in serving you 6 years. Yahweh your Elohim does bless you in all that you do. Set apart to Yahweh your Elohim all firstborn male that come from your herd and your flock. Do not work with the firstborn of your herd, nor share the firstborn of your flock. You and your household are to see it before Yahweh, or to eat it before Yahweh your Elohim, year by year, in the place which Yah chooses. But when there is any defect in it, lame or blind, or it has any evil defect, do not slaughter it to Yahweh your Elohim, either within your gates, and the unclean alike, and the gazelle and the deer. Only do not eat its blood, pour it on the earth like water. So, the year of release. How often does it come?
7 years.
7 years.
30
what
years.
What is it called?
Year of release. Year of release.
Look in verse 2.
Huh?
Look in verse 2.
The year you make the release. You shall make a release.
Is that what it says?
In mine it says, and this is the manner of the release. Everyone who has the loan of his neighbor
Pesach.
shall.
Or Pesach.
Keep going. MD.
Oh, okay. Everyone who has a loan of his neighbor shall release it. He shall not accept it of his neighbor and his brother, because a release has been proclaimed for Yahweh.
Okay. And so it's the release of Yah. Not the year of release.
I
It's the
see.
release of Yah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. So that's why down here in the latter verses, he said, if you have a servant, a slave,
Mm-hmm.
after he's worked 6 years, in the beginning of the 7th year, you release him then.
Right. That's the release
Wow.
of Yah.
Yeah, they skipped all over that when they brought us over, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That didn't apply.
Yeah.
But sure, it's not even now. I mean, I guess because we get mortgages from the banks, they ain't our brothers, right? So it's more or less like we have to get, they are brothers and sisters, or the tribe has to release it, not the mortgage banks and all those type of people. Am I right or wrong? I don't know.
They just discovered more and more evil ways of doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because
I don't
if
I
they
don't
do a
think
release, it's
yeah.
called a what you call a bankruptcy.
Mhm.
That's what they call a release.
Yeah, I don't think initially that when mortgages and stuff were done,
Right.
it didn't go no 30 years.
No,
Mm-mm.
You know, I was
It's about more expensive.
I was looking at when I'm trying to think of how many greats he is. I guess it'd be my great grandfather. Had bought the land in Mississippi. He bought 100 and something acres and paid that off within a year.
Yeah, cool.
You know, it wasn't until man decided that, oh, well, let me sit there and figure out how I'm going to pimp these people for the next 30 years. Tell you that your house is worth $50,000. I'm gonna give you a $50,000 loan for it, but to make it easier for you to be able to pay it off, I'm gonna give you 30 years to pay it off. And by the end of that 30 years, you end up paying me $150,000. And that's what they do. So they're pimping us in that process. And they're not doing that, you know. So if I'm paying $150,000 in 30 years, then that letting you know that I'm paying off basically 50,000 of it within 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if we made the terms, you know, had a better understanding of what we're doing, then I could probably easily have paid it off in my setting. You know, if I'm buying more house than that, then I'm basically you know, operating outside of my spending habits, basically, outside of my means. I'm having champagne on a Coca-Cola budget, as they call it. So, but those are the issues that we are dealing with here, and this is why all this goes contrary to what Yah has told us. So in those years of release, like I said, which is every 7 years, it should teach us about the jobs that we're working at. Why did he say that anybody should ever stay there more than after 7 years?
If the person said they you know, wanted to stay,
Yeah,
and that's when you pierce their ear.
yeah, but it says they have to not only say that they wanted to stay, but because they loved you and it was good for them to be there.
For them, yeah.
So,
Right.
but it said also in that time of letting them depart, it wasn't just the fact that you let them come and work for you a couple years, and then you give them a retirement, like they do today. Now you got to work 20, 30, 40 years before you get a retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't want to get that to you until you're 65, you know.
Yeah.
Here it's saying, hey, put it in his hand now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can see how far we've strayed from the commands of Yah.
Mm.
That's why we're in the conditions that we're in today.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else?
No, there was a lot.
Mm-hmm. What about verse 16, 1 through 17?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 16, verses 1 through 17. Who wants to read that one?
I'll get it.
All right.
Okay.
I see MD struggling. Oh, look. She's back. She wants it. Okay, 16.
Yeah.
1 through 17.
Yeah.
Guard the month of Avia and keep the Pesach unto Yahuwah Elohim. For in the month of Avi, Yahweh Elohim brought you forth out of Mitzrayim by night. You shall therefore sacrifice the Pesach unto Yahweh Elohim of the flock and the herd in the place which Yahweh shall choose to place his name there. You shall eat no chametz, which within 7 days, within 7 days shall you eat mitzvah. I don't know what these words are. Therefore, even the bread of affliction, for you came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, that you may remember the day when you came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. And you shall be no chametz, there shall be no chametz seen with you in all your coasts 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh which you sacrifice the first day at evening remain all night until the morning. You may not sacrifice the Pesach within any of your gates, with which Yahweh Elohim gives you, but in the place which Yahweh Elohim shall choose to place his name in. There you shall sacrifice the Pesach at evening, at the going down of the sun, at the season that you came forth out of Mitzrayim. And you shall roast and eat it in the place which Yahweh Elohim shall choose. And you shall turn in the morning and go into your tents. 6 days you shall eat mitzvah, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh Elohim. You shall do no work therein. 7 weeks shall you number unto you, begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as you begin to put the sickle to the grain. And you shall keep the feast of Shabbat unto Yahweh Elohim with a tribute of a freewill offering of your hand, which you shall give unto Yahweh Elohim, according to Yahweh Elohim has blessed you. And you shall rejoice before Yahweh Elohim, you and your son and your daughter and your manservant and your maidservant and the Levite that is within your gates, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are among you in the place which Yahweh Elohim has chosen to place his name therein. You shall remember that you were a bondman in Mitzrayim, and you shall guard and do these statutes. You shall keep the feast of Sukkot 7 days after that you shall have gathered in your threshing floor and your wine. And you shall rejoice in your feast, and you, your son and your daughter, and your manservant and your maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger and the fatherless, and the widow that are within your gates. 7 days shall you keep a solemn feast unto Yahweh Elohim, the place which Yahweh shall choose, because Yahweh Elohim shall bless you in all your increase and in all the works of your hands. Therefore you shall surely rejoice. 3 times in a year shall all your males appear before Yahweh Elohim, the place which he shall choose, in the feast of Mitzvah, and in the feast of Shabbat, and in the feast of Sukkot, and they shall not appear before Yahweh empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of Yahweh Elohim, which he has given you. That's it? Or to 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, after all the other things that he has commanded them to do, he's now commanding them to come at their appointed times, at Yah's appointed times. As we were discovering in the last one, it was Yah's appointed release. Not that it was just a year, but it's a release of Yah that he has required. And that way we remember that. And as it's talking here about the leaven and the unleavened bread, making sure that you didn't have any leaven within your gates for 7 days, and all the different things of Pesach and for Shavuot. It even goes down to all the feast days, the Feast of Weeks, and at the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot. He says that none of you should come empty-handed. So that's telling those brothers and sisters of ours who know that they're going, but somehow can't manage to, they can manage to get a new outfit and stay at the most fanciest hotel and everything else and have tickets to all the parties, but they can't bring nothing to the feast. And he says, don't come empty-handed. And then it says, but each one of you with a gift in his hand according to the blessings of Yah, your Elohim, which he's given to you. So if you don't come with anything, what are you telling Yah?
He hadn't done anything for me.
Yeah. And, it's not going to go over too well.
No.
It's not going to go over too well at all. You go out there and tell Yah, you ain't done nothing for me. Like, yeah. Let me turn the faucet off and we'll see how you feel when there ain't no water.
Yeah.
Because I ain't done nothing. So, anybody got anything that they want to add to that? Any questions or comments?
Well,
All right. Well, I guess we go to Isaiah
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
54, verse 11.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Afflicted one, storm tossed and not confronted and not comforted. Behold, I am laying your stones with fair colors and have founded you with sapphires. And I will make your battlements of rubies and your gates carbuncle stones and all your border stones of delight and all your borders stones of delight.
Right.
Yeah. And all your sons will be taught of Yah, and the peace of your sons will be great. You shall be established in righteousness. You shall be far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near you. Behold, gathering, they shall gather, but not for me. Who has gathered against you? But you, he shall fall. By you, he shall fall. Behold, I have created the smith who blows the coal in the fire and who brings out a weapon for his work. And I have created the waster of destroy. Every weapon formed against you shall not prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, you shall condemn. This is the inheritance of the servants of Yah, and the righteousness is from me, says Yahweh.
Now, that's saying something.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, that is saying something. Now, when we read this, we have to understand that Isaiah is a prophet, so he's prophesying futuristic. And they're saying, you afflicted one. You who've been tossed in the storm, who ain't been comforted at all. He says, "Hey, I'm setting your stones of antimony, and shall lay your foundations with sapphire." So he's saying that what your foundations are about to be are that which others believe to be treasures. Um, and he says, although all these other things have happened to you, my kindness is not removed from you, nor my covenant of peace shaken. And he says that he has compassion on us. So what does that mean when you hear that his kindness is not removed from us, especially when we see things that are going on in the world today, nor is his covenant of peace shaken?
He's saying that to me, I got your back.
Yeah. I think I jumped up above where we were. So
Yeah.
sorry about
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm going back.
Yeah. Well,
Where did I miss?
yeah, you missed that. But that's I've read that,
That's
and
okay.
I jumped above. But I mean, I even
Make
with
it
that,
clear.
yeah. I got my stuff highlighted, and I had jumped into the wrong place in reading this. But he's basically even saying that, one, that his covenant is still with us.
Mm-hmm.
We may have been shaken, and they may have blown up and tore up a bunch of stuff, but his covenant still stands strong.
Right.
They can't tear it up. And he begins to talk about how precious everything is. And then he breaks it down to us. What is it that is going to establish us? In verse 14.
You shall be established in righteousness. You shall be far from oppression.
So what is righteousness? We're going to be established in righteousness. What does it mean to be righteous?
Well,
To be doing the command.
And that's it. Because it tells us that Abraham was considered righteous.
righteous, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Only Abraham, one that was considered.
Right. And why was he considered righteous?
Because he did what he was told.
That's it. So he's letting us know right here, we are established in righteousness when we do what we're told in the scriptures, all the stuff that he's been reading. Because understand, when we started this in Deuteronomy chapter 11, it began to say these are the teachings and instructions that you are to follow, that you are to do. So when we began to do those things that we read about today, he says that oppression is far from us, that ruin, we ain't got to fear from about it. We ain't gonna have no fear.
Yeah, and terror.
Yeah, terror ain't gonna come near us.
Come near you. You know, I've heard many preacher, speaker say, I've always, as I recall, heard it said, any weapon formed against me shall not prosper. Here, my Bible is saying every weapon formed against me, against you shall not prosper. And every tongue shall not rise against you in judgment. You shall condemn.
Right.
And I've highlighted that this today,
Mm-hmm.
because normally when they're talking about that, they're talking about things that are going on now. But if you don't believe in the Torah,
Right.
why you quote? Yeah.
Right. Right. That's the thing. If you can't profess it if you don't believe it.
Right. And I wanted to highlight it so I could, next time I hear it, I want to call them out.
Yeah. Go back to it. Because, and as you said, they always talk about any weapon formed against me shall not prosper, but they don't say nothing about the tongue of judgment that come against you.
Right. They stop it at any weapon formed against me will not profit, shall not prosper.
Yeah.
Prosper.
But then read the sentence after that, because that's what the kicker is.
Yeah, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, you shall condemn.
Read the sentence after that.
This is the inheritance of the servants of Yah, and their righteousness is from me. Woo! Woo!
So
Woo! Hallelujah.
the thing that we need to consider and understand, he said, this is our inheritance. Our inheritance is the fact that as he started talking here about the afflicted one, the one who wasn't comfort, who's been tossed to and from, in part of your inheritance is that in the righteousness, in doing what he has told you, that oppression is going to be far from you, the terror is going to be far from you, that ruin and destruction is going to be far from you, that anybody, they might assemble against Yah, but whoever assembles against us fails for our sake. And that he himself have created the blacksmith who blows the coals of fire, who brings forth the instrument of his work, and he has created the waster to destroy.
Destroy.
And then he says, and no weapon or any weapon or every weapon formed against us it can't prosper. And every tongue which rises against us in judgment shall be proved wrong or shall be condemned. And it says, this is the inheritance. So that's what our inheritance is. Our inheritance is that anybody that comes against us, all the stuff that they done toward us, all we got to do, our inheritance is the righteousness that he's put before us. That they can't take that away. They can try to take all the gold and silver and land and everything else away from us. But all we got to do to claim the riches and the glories that Yah has put there before us is to follow his word. And by doing such, everything that they try, everyone who attempts, anyone who says something in condemnation and judgment against us, oh, they ain't no good, they this, they that, they lazy. You making judgments against us, you will be condemned.
I shall vouch for that. I have seen that happen. Yep.
So
I really have.
And he said that's what our inheritance is. So we have to understand, we got to stop looking for these the gifts of the world as our inheritance, and start looking at his word as our inheritance. And by following them, that's what gives us all the what does the scripture say? Seek ye first the kingdom of Yah and all his righteousness, and all these other things shall be added to you. And so that's what we have to understand. We have to seek him, his kingdom and his righteousness. And by doing that, all this other stuff, we ain't got to worry about it. We ain't even got to look after it. That's what he tells us in Deuteronomy 28. When you do what I tell you to do, all these blessings will pursue you. and overtake you.
It'll chase you and take you down.
That's right. So you can run from it. You can jump in the car and try to drive away from it. You can jump in a spaceship and try to fly to the moon away from it. But he said it will pursue you and overtake you because, as Yah said from the beginning, let there be light, and there's still light today. When he gave you the word that the blessings will pursue you, those blessings will pursue you. This is your inheritance. I might have to hammer on this one. I gotta go after these guys up in Demona. Daweed has got me wanting to talk to them. He wants me to talk to them about Yah's economics. So I think that Yah just gave me what he needs me to have right here. To handle that. So let me read. I think we were supposed to go 55 verses. What?
Yeah, 1 to 5. I can finish it.
Go for it.
Ho, everyone who thirsts, come to the water. And he who has no money, come buy grain and eat. Yes, come buy grain, wine, and milk without silver and with no price. Why do you weigh out silver for that which is not bread, and your labor for what never satisfies? Listen carefully to me and eat the good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Bend your ear and come to me. Hear, and your soul shall live, and I will cut an everlasting covenant with you, the faithful mercies of David. Behold, I gave him a witness to people, a leader, and a commander of peoples. Behold, you shall call a nation you do not know. Yea, a nation not knowing you shall run to you because of Yah, your Elohim, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he has glorified you.
Hallelujah. So he just breaks it down. He's saying he gonna make it so that you ain't. They gonna tell you that your money's no good here.
That's right.
Your money is no good here. Get whatever you want, but you ain't got to put no money down. I like that. And says that you can eat whatever you want till you are full, to the point that you can
Yeah.
He says you got to incline your ear and come to him.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Mm.
And he says, and see a nation that you do not know, you shall call, and a nation who does not know you run to you because of Yah, your Elohim, the set apart one, for he has adorned you. So God is letting us know that, yeah, we might be in a nation that think they know us. We gotta call on somebody that we ain't never known before.
Yeah.
And those who didn't know us is going to be like, oh, are they the ones? Let me run to them. Hallelujah.
All right.
John 36, 35.
I just had to write that down so I can go back to it and deal with it. What was that, John?
6.
35 through 51?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You got to say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. All right. And we'll read John chapter 6, 35 through 51.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And it reads as follows. And Yeshua said to them, I'm the bread of life. He who comes to me shall not get hungry at all. He who believes in me shall not get thirsty at all. But I said to you that you have seen me and still do not believe. All that the Father gives me shall come to me. And the ones who come to me I shall by no means cast out, because I have come down out of heaven, not to do my own desire, but the desire of him who sent me. This is the desire of the Father who sent me, that all that he has given me, I should not lose of it, but should raise it in the last day. This is the desire of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him should possess everlasting life, and I shall raise him in the last day. Therefore, the Yehudim were grumbling against him, because he said, I am the bread which came down out of heaven. And they said, is not this Yeshua, son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How's it then that he says, I have come down out of the heavens? Then Yeshua answered and said to them, do not grumble with one another. No one is able to come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him. I shall raise him up in the last day. It has been written in the prophets, and they shall all be taught by Yahuwah. Everyone then who heard from the Father and learned and comes to me. Not that everyone has seen the Father, except he who is from the Father. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly I say to you, he who believes in me possesses everlasting life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and they died. This is the bread which comes down out of heaven, so that everyone might eat of it and not die. I am the living bread which came down out of the heavens. If anyone eats of this bread, he shall live forever, and indeed the bread which I give is my flesh, which I shall give for the life of the world. The Yehudim therefore were striving with one another, saying, how is this one able to give us his flesh to eat? And Yeshua therefore said to them, truly, truly, I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the son of Adam and drink his blood, you possess no life in you, of yourselves. He who eats my flesh and drink my blood possesses everlasting life, and I shall raise him up in the last day. For my flesh is truly food, and my blood is truly drink.
Mm.
Now that was a hard pill to swallow, because all the time we've been talking about what is righteous stuff to eat, what's an abomination to eat. And then any time they were eating meat, what was the main thing that they told them not to eat with it?
Milk. Your mother's milk.
No. What was the main thing in all the
The
meat?
blood. The blood. The blood.
Yeah. I always said pour the blood out, because
Put
the blood
on the
was what?
ground.
Was the life.
Life.
And so Yeshua was letting them know that his blood is the everlasting life. And so it was not the fact that they were supposed to drink his blood, cannibalize and eat his flesh, but that they were supposed to use him as the example of the sacrificial lamb, as they were told to keep the Passover. Remember, they said these are the commandments that you're supposed to keep. This is the teaching instructions that you're supposed to keep. And the last part we saw on that was his set apart feast days. And so, and that's what Yeshua is basically saying. This is what gives you that inheritance here. This is how you know this is part of who you are when you do this. At least you got to at least come to this part and come to the understanding that the blood that is put on the doorpost that passes you over that passes over the spirit of death from you is my blood. Same as the children of Israel when they put the blood of the lamb. I am that sacrificial lamb. That same lamb they were supposed to eat that night. They wasn't supposed to save any till the next day. Everything they had was supposed to be consumed that night, and whatever they couldn't finish eating, they were supposed to burn.
Right.
And so, and this is what he's saying, that when, and as he told them at the Passover meal, said, this bread represents my flesh. Say, take this and eat, and as often as you do this in remembrance of me. Took the cup also and said, this wine is my blood. Take this and drink, and as often as you do this in remembrance of me. Didn't say nothing about Easter. Didn't say nothing about Christmas with Santa Claus or any of that other stuff. It says, as long as you do this, which was the Passover meal, that is what our inheritance is. That is what keeps us being righteous. That's our start, because that is the thing that tells us the story of what Yah has done and who we are as a people. And so, because we have forsaken it and forgotten it, and even when we're told about it today, we think it's all right. I know that Christmas ain't his birthday, but that's the day that I choose. As I tell him, what day did he choose? And so we have to remember that. As Moshe told him, say, hey, before you go into the land, we can't do like we doing here today. Everybody going after his own heart. Whatever way seems righteous in his own heart, but we got to follow the will of Yah. It's through that righteousness that all the oppression, all the fear, all the terror, all the weapons, all the condemnations, and everything is removed from us. We have to act in that righteousness, and that's what Yeshua is breaking down to us. That he was the one who came and showed us that we were able to do these things and to be able to do them in love. And so he is the way. We should walk in the way that he walks in. He is the truth, which means that there's no exception. With truth, it can withstand scrutiny. And it doesn't matter what anybody tries to tell you otherwise about whatever else is coming at you. And as I said, when somebody tries to teach you of a way that is contrary to this way, there's certain ways that you're supposed to deal with them. But we got to get to that point as a people. Once you've gotten there, you shouldn't let anything take you from Yah. And there might be things that come up that you might question. But as I said, if the word of Yah is true, it should be able to withstand scrutiny. Don't be afraid to test it out. Don't let it just go by what you see at that moment, because as with the magician, they can go up there and make it look like they just pulled a rabbit out of their hat, or made a car disappear or an elephant disappear, but that's nothing but trickery of the eye, sleight of hand. Study it, figure it out, and I'm sure that in the end you'll find out that Yah's word is true.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got anything that they like to add? Questions, comments, concerns?
No.
All right. Well, with that being said, our hearts and minds clear. We'll go ahead and go to the closing of the Torah. It says, and this is the Torah given by Moshe
Okay.
to the children of Israel at the command of Yahuwah through the hand of Moshe.
And
And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, this is how you Baruch the children of
Baruch the children of Israel.
Say to them, Yahuwah Baruch you,
You,
guard you.
got you,
Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you.
you.
Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall Baruch them.
Hallelujah.
All right. But Toda, y'all, thank y'all for going up today.
Thank you.
I really got a little extra out of this than what I was coming in anticipating getting. But I always get a little extra out. But it really manifested itself today. So thank everybody for coming, and hope you guys continue to have a very good day. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Do the same. Shabbat shalom. Peace and blessing.
Peace and blessings.